Our journey begins at the center of the solar system with the Sun, an enormous sphere of unimaginably hot plasma. This is where we will start our grand tour with the star that allows all life on Earth to exist. The only star out of trillions scattered across the universe that provides us with warmth and light. The light we feel and see every day is created deep inside of the Sun, within its violent core, until, after thousands of years, it escapes from the only layer we can see, this layer, the photosphere. It takes sunlight over 8 minutes to reach Earth, but the closest planet to the Sun, Mercury, is bathed in it within just 3 minutes. That bright dot straight ahead is Mercury, our first stop on our epic journey throughout the solar system. As you can see, the planet Mercury is a world of extremes that bears the scars of a violent history. This small, moonless world is often thought of as an insignificant barren rock, but Mercury is a fascinating planet, full of bizarre mysteries that are only just beginning to be unraveled. Resembling our moon, its surface is scarred by many impacts resulting from collisions with asteroids and comets. But it's not just enormous craters that dominate its landscape. If you look carefully, the world is also wrinkled. Mercury has steep, cliff-like ridges that stretch all over its surface, possibly a feature that occurred as it cooled after its formation, causing the planet to shrink and its crust to slightly crumple. Despite how close it is to the Sun, Mercury is not the hottest world in our solar system, but it does experience some extreme temperature swings unlike those found on any other planet. On the day side, the Sun penetrates the planet's thin atmosphere and bakes the surface. But because there isn't much air to distribute that heat, the temperature on the planet's night side plunges to hundreds of degrees below zero. Where Mercury's scarred surface is fully exposed, our next stop is shrouded in a thick blanket of mystery. This bland-looking, moonless world is Venus. But don't be fooled, because below that thick cloud cover, this planet is anything but boring. Venus is a hot, hellish world unlike any other in the solar system. That dense atmosphere enveloping the planet traps the Sun's heat like panes of glass in a greenhouse, creating a process known as the runaway greenhouse effect. Because of this extreme global warming, Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. At the surface, it is hot enough to melt lead. But Venus may not have always been the scorching, hellish world that we see today, as certain studies have revealed that possibly only 700 million years ago, this deadly planet may have been covered with flowing, shallow oceans of liquid water. If this is correct, then Venus could have been briefly habitable over a few hundred million years, possibly even long enough for life to begin. Where Venus is no place for life as we know it, our next target is a paradise for life, our beautiful home, Earth. As it stands, Earth is the only planet out of thousands discovered beyond our solar system to host living organisms. In some ways, Earth is an embarrassment of riches, abundant with persistent and persuasive life forms that can be found in almost every nook and cranny. Earth may well be the rarest place in the universe, and we get the privilege of calling it home. Our entire history can be traced back to this single blue marble. It is the place where billions of people have lived and died, and where many more billions will be born. This is the world where it all started for us, the cradle of humanity. Today, we can observe the wonders of this magnificent planet in many different ways, which is possibly the most bizarre part of its history. An intelligent being that can ponder its own existence and appreciate the majestic nature of a rare world that we call home. Where Earth is a wet, warm paradise for life as we know it, our next location is a dry, cold and dusty place that holds the potential of future life. For many years, we have sent space probes, landers, and rovers to Mars, which have discovered incredible things about the red planet. We now know this rusty world was not always as arid and inhospitable as it is today. It once was a world rich with flowing water that ran through a network of valleys and deltas, feeding long-lost lakes and seas. But as time went on, dramatic changes caused the Martian lakes and seas to disappear. Today, as you can see, there is no flowing water, but instead drifting sand, moving across dry rocks, all of which is concealed within a thin, frigid atmosphere. Evidence of vast amounts of liquid water having once flowed on Mars is largely why NASA's latest rover, Perseverance, is currently down there, searching for signs of ancient Martian life. But the possibility of past life isn't the world's only appeal. Compared to Mercury, Venus, and the giant planets that we will soon be visiting, Mars could one day offer a suitable place for human beings to colonize. The next planet from the Sun is the mighty Jupiter. But before we travel there, we must first pass through the asteroid belt, a ring of material containing mysterious worlds left over from the formation of the inner solar system. This is Ceres, the largest world in the asteroid belt and the closest dwarf planet to the Sun. Ceres appears as a scarred, barren world that is covered in fascinating features, such as a possible cryovolcano, which is a mountain that spews out molten ice instead of molten rock. The possible presence of salts within the craters suggests that an ancient global ocean also once existed beneath its bombarded crust, and it may still be there today. Described as an embryonic planet, Ceres started to form but didn't quite finish. Nearby, Jupiter's strong gravity likely prevented it from ever becoming a fully fledged planet. Another large world in the asteroid belt is Vesta, an almost spherical body with an extensive system of deep grooves circling its equator, the scars of an enormous ancient impact event. Like Earth, this strange asteroid has a crust, mantle, and iron core, and because of its large size, it has been theorized that early in the history of the solar system, many small worlds such as Vesta, known as planetesimals, were the building blocks for the planets. Unlike any of the solid, rocky planets we have seen so far, our next stop is an enormous planet of gas, storms, and bizarre oceans. Now we must travel to the region of the giants. This is the king of the planets, the mighty Jupiter. A gas giant so unimaginably large, if Earth was the size of a grape, then Jupiter would be about the size of a basketball. Its familiar clouds of stripes and swirls obscure its bizarre interior and conceal its true structure, because inside of this gas giant, the deeper the atmosphere falls, the tighter it is squeezed together, increasing in pressure and temperature the closer it gets to the core, everything you need to create a truly bizarre environment. Deep below this thick, chaotic cloud, the hydrogen gas that dominates most of Jupiter's atmosphere slowly compresses into a liquid, creating the largest ocean in the solar system. But this is not an ocean of flowing water, but instead an ocean of scorching, liquid, metallic hydrogen. One of Jupiter's extraordinary features that we can see, however, is the Great Red Spot, an enormous storm so big it could engulf the entire Earth. And orbiting the gas giant are 80 moons, 4 of which are almost planet-like, with features such as volcanoes and subsurface water oceans, making Jupiter almost like a miniature solar system of its own. One of Jupiter's more fascinating moons is the icy Europa. Europa may be the most promising place in our solar system to find present-day environments suitable for some form of life beyond Earth. There is almost certainly a hidden salty ocean beneath its icy surface that is thought to contain twice as much water as Earth's oceans combined. and it may have existed for the whole age of the solar system, long enough for life to begin and evolve there. Next, we will visit a planetary jewel, arguably the most recognizable planet after Earth, the beautiful Saturn. Like Jupiter, Saturn is a massive gas giant, and although it has been discovered that all 4 of the gas and ice giants in the solar system have rings, none can be observed and appreciated quite like Saturn's. The glimmering rings are made up of billions upon billions of pieces of broken up ice and rock that range from tiny dust particles to enormous chunks, some bigger than the iceberg that sank the Titanic. Scientists have long wondered if Saturn formed with its iconic rings or if the planet acquired them later. But according to close-up data, the rings are relatively young, likely only forming between 10 million and 100 million years ago. It is thought that the rings may have formed when small, ancient icy moons collided or were torn apart by Saturn's immense gravity, shattering them into trillions of pieces during a dramatic event and turning Saturn into one of the solar system's most unique-looking planets. Orbiting this magnificent planet are also 83 moons, one of which is surprisingly Earth-like. This is Titan, an icy moon that is shrouded by a thick, hazy atmosphere which obscures its mysterious, frigid surface. It is the second largest moon in the solar system, larger even than the planet Mercury, and is the only world besides Earth to have standing bodies of liquid, including rivers, lakes, and seas, but not filled with water, instead flowing methane. Similar to Earth, its thick atmosphere is primarily made up of nitrogen, with a hint of methane, but its surface is bitterly cold. It is so cold here that water is frozen harder than rock. Although there is currently no evidence for life on Titan, it has been suggested that the vast pools of liquid methane could serve as a habitable environment, providing a home for bizarre organisms, unlike anything that can be found here on Earth. But it's not just the surface of Titan where flowing liquid exists, because the giant moon may also have a salty subsurface liquid water ocean. This hidden underground ocean could be one of the few known habitable environments within the solar system. The gas giants Jupiter and Saturn are by far the largest planets in the solar system, but there are still 2 more massive worlds to explore, and so our next stop is within the region of the ice giants. Although its name usually puts it at the center of many space jokes, Uranus is one of the most interesting but unusual planets in the solar system. It still holds many mysteries due to the fact that it is so far away and that it has only ever been visited once. But it has been discovered that the ice giant is surrounded by 13 faint rings and 27 small moons as it rotates at a nearly 90-degree angle from the plane of its orbit. This unique tilt makes Uranus appear to spin sideways, orbiting the Sun like a rolling ball. Possibly the result of a collision with an Earth-sized object long ago, this unique tilt causes the most extreme seasons in the solar system. For nearly a quarter of each Uranian year, the Sun shines directly over each pole, plunging the other half of the planet into a 21-year-long dark winter. Out of the 27 known moons orbiting Uranus, one of them is very unusual looking. This is Miranda, and like Frankenstein's monster, it looks like it was pieced together from parts that didn't quite merge properly. It is a moon with a jumbled up surface that appears as though it was pushed together and broken apart several times. Those giant fault canyons stretching across its surface are as much as 12 times as deep as the Grand Canyon. And because of Miranda's low gravity, a rock dropped off the edge of the highest cliff would take a full 10 minutes to reach the foot of the cliff. Why Miranda looks this way is a mystery, but one possibility is that the moon may have been smashed apart in some colossal collision, and the pieces then haphazardly reassembled. Our next location is the last known major planet in the solar system, the distant and mysterious cobalt blue-coloured Neptune. Like Uranus, Neptune has only ever been visited once, and so it too holds on to many secrets. It was even discovered using mathematics before it was observed, making it the only planet to be predicted and then confirmed. As you can see, Neptune is wrapped in a stunning teal and cobalt blue atmosphere, with scattered slate-coloured clouds that in some places are moving 5 times faster than the strongest winds ever recorded on Earth. In fact, they are so powerful, they break the sound barrier. And if you look carefully, Neptune's dark, dusty rings can be seen, rings that possibly formed relatively recently when one of its moons was destroyed. Out of the 14 known moons to orbit Neptune, one of them could be an imposter. This is Triton, Neptune's largest and strangest moon. Triton has a geologically young surface, active geysers spewing icy material out from its frozen crust, and a vast south polar cap with a pinkish hue. At first glance, Triton may seem like a fairly regular, large moon, orbiting a distant giant planet. However, this is not the case. This strange world is anything but normal. This is because the bizarre moon orbits in the opposite direction to Neptune's rotation and follows a highly inclined 157-degree path relative to Neptune's equator, causing scientists to wonder whether Triton was plucked from another region of space, possibly the Kuiper Belt, as it shares a lot of similarities with dwarf planets such as Pluto. Next, we will travel beyond Neptune into the icy region of the Kuiper Belt, and at the edge of this belt is the king of the dwarf planets. Once considered the 9th and most distant planet in the solar system, Pluto is covered in tall, icy mountains, deep chasms, overlapping craters, and vast, almost featureless plains, a small jewel of astonishing beauty. Pluto has 5 moons, but its largest, Charon, is about half the size of Pluto itself, making it the largest natural satellite relative to the planet it orbits in the solar system. One of the most spectacular features on Pluto is its iconic heart. Named Tombaugh Regio, the bright area consists of 2 very different sides. One side is a chaotic mountain range that is made up of water ice frozen harder than granite, whereas the other side is a fairly flat, nitrogen-rich plain that is believed to be a gigantic impact crater filled with ice and possibly even concealing a slushy water ocean. But Pluto isn't the only one lurking in the Kuiper Belt. Millions of icy bodies exist here, many of which are also classed as dwarf planets, such as our next target, Haumea. Very little is known about Haumea, but it does appear to be one of the most unique objects discovered in the Kuiper Belt so far. As you can see, it has an unusual shape, which is thought to be due to its rapid rotation, which distorts it into an oval rather than a sphere. It also has 2 small moons and a strange ring of material surrounding it that is likely made up of icy debris. What caused Haumea to spin so rapidly and gain an icy ring is still a mystery, but it may be the result of a large collision that occurred billions of years ago. Many dwarf planets lurk in the Kuiper Belt. Within this distant ring of icy debris, there could be hundreds still to be discovered. But the most distant official dwarf planet is Eris, a world that ended up playing a large role in the eventual reclassification of Pluto. This is Eris, a dwarf planet that was briefly thought of as the 10th major planet in the solar system. Because of its striking similarities to Pluto, the discovery of Eris and other dwarf planets caused the reclassification of Pluto's planetary status, a debate that still continues today. Eris is currently the farthest officially confirmed dwarf planet from the Sun, located on the outer edge of the Kuiper Belt in a region called the Scattered Disk. However, there are many others out here that haven't been confirmed yet as dwarf planets, but have been observed. Since Eris is so far away, no surface details can be seen, but astronomers have detected the presence of methane ice and believe Eris would likely look something similar to Pluto. Unlike Haumea, Eris has no known ring system, but it does have at least one moon named Dysnomia, the second largest moon to a dwarf planet after Pluto's Charon. Our solar system is full of incredible worlds, many of which have never been visited, some of which are still to be discovered. From enormous gas giants to small icy objects, each world has its own unique features. And just think, our solar system is only one out of millions that exist throughout the galaxy. What wonders could we find out there amongst all those glistening stars?